asked for a discussion on one of the other big news stories this morning, which is the Just Stop Oil protesters taking again to the roads yesterday, sabotaging petrol stations around the M25 and preventing good, honest, working people from filling up their vans and their cars and going to work to make sure this country still runs. Howard Cox, I'm delighted to say good morning to him from Fair Fuel UK. Howard, you're joining me. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, James. It's an honour to be on your show, sir.
I'm not raging. I'm just going to give it to the British people as it is. When I ask for a debate, I would expect Just Stop Oil to put forward somebody to talk to you in a balanced way. And I wanted it to be a respectful debate. What I'm not going to do is put on screen or into a discussion with a young man, not out of disrespect to him, but he's 15, he's not out of school, he hasn't in any way got, I don't think, I mean, I'm sure he believes in it, but he's 15. And I'm going to ask you, because I'm not going to put Zach on, and I'm not, for a reason, right? I don't want to have a go at him. But is it a ploy, do you think, by Just Stop Oil? Why is it that whenever television stations say, come on, put somebody up, have your say, they give us a 15-year-old? Makes no sense to me at all, Howard. Not at all. Sorry, can't have it.
Well, Jeremy, I respect what you're saying. I would be happy to talk to Zach round the table instead of actually them vandalising garages.
But what I'm trying to say to you is, if you get, and I'm being straight, we live in a world, if you start saying to Zach, blah, 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 you'll say, oh, well, you're being disrespectful to a teenager, so I'll let him listen. Zach, you listen. Right. Howard, you say they're a disgrace, they should be thrown in jail. I say, I don't even understand what their gripe is, but they are doing, I think, the wrong thing in terms of the message they're doing. And the message might be right, I don't know, but the way they're doing it will alienate the British public, won't it?
Well, in support of that, we did a survey yesterday amongst our supporters. We got 1.7 million who have signed up in the last 12 years to Fairfield UK, basically to reduce the cost of motoring. That was our role in life, school duty. But we also asked the question, what do they think of these, fundamentally, these protesters? And 76 came back who had sympathy for the Green argument, have swayed away from supporting the Green agenda because of these protests. They're not helping their cause. They, as you quite rightly say, they are alienating the very people they need on their side for their argument. It's a laudable aim to reduce carbon emissions, and I'm a petrol head. I've been running this campaign for years. I'm backed by the Road Haulage Association. But these guys simply are vandals, terrorists. I mean, people are being savaged to death in the Ukraine, and we're on the verge of a world war. But the bunch of lunatics are hell-bent on following an ill-informed, and I call it a myopic ideal, that will not make a shed load of difference to the planet's environmental future.
Let me just say to Zach, who's listening, because it's a very difficult one, right? If you put a teenager on into a huge debate, right, you'll be accused oh, that was a bit unfair. If you don't, is that unfair? Zach, I'd say this to you, I know you're listening. I really do appreciate, right, that you've got up early, but I don't feel comfortable, and neither do the producers, putting you on at this moment in time. We'll give you a right of reply, but we're not going to have a debate. Do you agree with me, Howard, that if you want to get your message across and you want to ingratiate people, if you like, to understand where you're coming from, the worst thing you can do is make their lives more difficult?
Absolutely right. As I said, for 13 years I've been campaigning. We've got 1.7 million drivers that support us. I could have had every road in the country could be blockaded. I could have done that. But what would that have achieved? Nothing. What we did has objective debate, try and convince MPs exactly about an argument about what cutting fuel duty would do to the economy, all those sorts of arguments. What I said, and every single media interview I do when I'm on with an environmentalist, who I've got respect for, and I respect their passion, please, can we sit round the table and work together how we actually improve our environment? Because every single driver wants to breathe clean air. It's not just the domain of a few people that are wrecking people's lives.
I mean, I think that's the point, isn't it? I mean, let me put it differently. And I say this every day, and I say it for a reason. I think we can be so focused on the latest thing that we should be, protesting about. What I'll say to Zach afterwards, what I'd say to you is, I don't care what any of you tell me about the environment. I know it's important, but I'll tell you what's more important is the cost of living. And if I have to say it, I'm going to keep saying it, because however it is, this is what annoys me. I appreciate, right, that Zach is probably very passionate about what he believes in, and I salute him for that, right? But There's a cost of living crisis, young man. Just stop oil, all of you, right? And that means people can't heat their homes or feed their kids or get a doctor's appointment. And they will go, I am telling you, I am absolutely telling you, what they will say is, yeah, I know there's problems with the environment, but there's more important things to me right now. And what Just Stop Oil and Insulate Britain and put up with whatever else they are, they don't seem to acknowledge that, Howard. And that is why I think their argument suffers.
Well, Jeremy, there's not much I can add to that. You could have said it perfectly. You should come and work for Fairfield UK, my friend.
Oh, good, another job offer. I've got a new television show. I haven't got time. Listen, Howard, thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate you being on. Now, Zach, I appreciate you waited patiently. I know you've heard what Howard has had to say. What I'd like is your response, my friend.
Yeah, I think what Howard has said here is deeply misleading, especially with regards to the survey he did. That was, like he said, from Fairfield UK supporters. It wasn't from the big pool that is the British public. YouGov did a poll in the recent events of Just Stop Oil. They did a poll, obviously, like they do with most big events, and it actually came back with Social Change Lab that YouGov polling suggests that Just Stop Oil protests have increased the number of people willing to take climate action. So that's completely contrary to what Howard has said. It's completely disproved that the British public, how he says they feel about us. And I think it's very misleading what Howard's just said.
Can I ask you a question? Two questions, actually. Do you understand what I said when I said that right now, and it's very aspirational that you're so passionate, and I don't disrespect you at all in that, right? But do you understand that right now, this is really not, whatever you think that YouGov poll says or not, and whatever you've been told by the Just Stop Oil protest groups or whatever, the British people, young man, are concerned about making ends meet. I don't care what any poll says, the majority want that green levy cut and they want to be able to feed their kids. Do you understand that?
100%. And I think the situation we're all put in here is awful. I think, obviously, at the end of the day, when we look at a lot of these issues, the fossil fuel companies are to blame. They're making record amounts of money. Bernard Looney, the CEO of BP, said he had more money than he knew what to do with.
Okay. One final question, out of total respect. For the people that are watching this and my listeners, right? How do you think they feel that a young man... it's such a difficult one for me, right? You don't pay bills, you don't earn money, so you can talk to me about the climate, but the reality of what I've said to you is not your reality. Why did Just Stop for Oil only put up school kids to us? Because I think my listeners and viewers will go, is that a ploy?
I came on my own accord. I said, you know what, let's have a chat. And I think it's quite unfair that you've been quite patronising, and so I can't speak to Howard. I would love to speak to Howard. That would be brilliant.
I can't win, can I? I cannot win.
But you've not allowed me to come on and speak to Howard. I came on this morning with the intention of speaking to Howard because I thought, this could be quite interesting to speak to someone who is from a group like Fairfield UK, and you haven't allowed me to do that.
He said, no, he'd like to sit around a table with you. I felt it better to listen to both of you separately, and so do the producers of this show. We will put you two together. I actually agree with you when you say that you, and he said it as well, in the end, I think we all want to do what's right by the climate, okay? But I will say this, and I make no apologies for it, Zach. I think the problem is that the way that your organisation goes around it does not meet with approval by people who are working their fingers to the bone to make ends meet. Now, there is acknowledgement that there are climate problems, and there is acknowledgement that things need to change. It's how that message is put across. So no patronisation at all. The most important thing, right, and I mean this with my hand on my heart, is that we all understand what's happening in the world. I will put you together with Howard, and I appreciate you coming on the show, all right, my friend? Thank you very much indeed. 17 minutes to 8 o'clock. This is Talk TV Breakfast.